My name is Ethan. I'm 34 years old, and I used to believe my marriage was built on trust. My wife, Natalie, and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. She was beautiful, driven, and ambitious, the kind of woman who lit up a room when she walked in. I admired her strength, her independence, and how passionate she was about her career. When she landed a new job at a prestigious marketing firm, we celebrated for days. It was a big opportunity, one that could transform her career. She was thrilled, and I was proud. Or at least I thought I was supposed to be. But somewhere between late-night strategy meetings and client dinners, I started to feel a quiet distance growing between us. She was always exhausted, always distracted. The warmth in her eyes that used to meet mine began to fade, replaced with something else. Indifference, maybe even guilt. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't being supportive enough. Maybe I had stopped being the kind of husband she could talk to. So I tried harder, cooking her favorite meals, surprising her with small gifts, sending her good morning texts like I used to when we were dating. But the more effort I put in, the colder she became. And then came him, her boss. His name was Marcus Hale, a man in his mid-40s, confident, charismatic, and successful. He was the kind of guy who commanded attention the moment he entered a room. Natalie talked about him constantly at first. Marcus said this, Marcus thinks that, Marcus wants me to lead this project. I told myself it was normal. She admired him professionally, nothing more. But every time his name came up, I noticed her tone shift. There was a spark there. The kind of admiration that went beyond work. One evening, she came home glowing. "Marcus said I have real leadership potential," she said, her eyes shining. "He thinks I could move up faster than anyone else if I keep proving myself." I smiled, but inside something twisted. It wasn't jealousy exactly, it was instinct. Something didn't feel right. Weeks passed, and her behavior became harder to ignore. Late meetings became routine. Weekends were for catching up on reports. Her phone was suddenly off limits, always face down, always locked. The breaking point came one Friday night. We'd planned a quiet dinner at home, something we hadn't done in weeks. I cooked, set the table, lit candles. It was supposed to be a reconnection. But an hour before she was due home, I got a text. "Hey babe, last-minute meeting. Don't wait up for me. I love you." I stared at the message for a long time. Something about it felt rehearsed, mechanical. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat at the table, watching the candles burn down. She came home past midnight, smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't mine. When I asked, she laughed it off. "Oh, please, Ethan, you're overthinking things. Marcus wears that cologne. I was in his office going over reports." She said it so casually, like it was nothing. But I couldn't shake the feeling that she was lying. That night, after she fell asleep, I checked her phone. It was locked, of course, but I'd learned her passcode months ago. Her birthday, ironically. My hands trembled as I unlocked it, part of me terrified of what I might find. At first, nothing. No incriminating texts, no photos, but then I noticed a folder hidden in her photo gallery, one that didn't appear in the main album. I opened it, and my heart sank. Pictures of her and Marcus at what looked like a rooftop bar. Her leaning close to him, laughing, his hand on her back. Another one of them at a conference, her head resting on his shoulder. They weren't inappropriate in a physical sense, but the intimacy was undeniable. And then, at the bottom, a screenshot of a message from Marcus. "Can't stop thinking about last night. You looked stunning." My world shattered. I sat there staring at the screen, every nerve in my body numb. The words burned into my mind, playing over and over. Last night. What had happened last night? I wanted to wake her up, to scream, to demand the truth, But instead, I put the phone back where I found it. I needed more than a confrontation. I needed proof she couldn't deny. The next few days, I played the part of the oblivious husband. I smiled, kissed her goodbye, and asked about her projects. But behind the mask, I was planning. I installed a small tracking app on her phone, not to invade her privacy, but to uncover the truth she was hiding. 2 days later, it confirmed what I already knew. She wasn't at the office during her so-called late meetings. She was at a luxury hotel across town, the same one Marcus often used for client events. The next Friday, she told me again she'd be working late. I nodded, smiled, and told her I might go out with friends. Instead, I followed her. My heart pounded as I trailed her car through the city, headlights cutting through the rain. She parked near the hotel, fixed her makeup in the mirror, and walked inside, confident, radiant, excited. I waited in the car, unsure what I'd do next. Part of me hoped I was wrong. Maybe there was an innocent explanation, but deep down, I knew. An hour passed, then 2. I couldn't take it anymore. I walked into the hotel pretending to be a guest and took the elevator to the top floor. The doors opened to a hallway lined with plush carpet and soft music playing from hidden speakers. I scanned the corridor until I saw it. Room 1507, Marcus Hale. My chest tightened. I approached the door, every step heavier than the last. I could hear faint laughter from inside, muffled music, and then her voice. I froze. I didn't need to open the door to know what was happening. I had all the proof I needed. The woman I had loved, trusted, and built a life with was inside that room, betraying me in the most intimate way possible. I turned and walked away. The elevator ride down felt endless. I could see my reflection in the mirrored walls, pale, hollow-eyed, broken. By the time I reached the lobby, I had made a decision. I wouldn't confront her yet. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me fall apart. No, I would let her dig her own grave. I'd gather everything, document every lie, every betrayal, and when the time was right, I'd expose it all. Because sometimes revenge isn't about rage, it's about control. And this time, I was taking mine back. Over the next few days, I lived 2 lives. To Natalie, I was still the loving husband, calm, affectionate, predictable. But beneath that surface, I was cold and calculating. I had already started documenting everything: her location data, her messages, her fake excuses, and her calendar entries that didn't match reality. Every time she left the house for a client meeting, I made sure to screenshot the time she actually checked in at that hotel. It felt strange, collecting evidence against the woman I had once loved so fiercely. But love had turned into something else now, a need for truth, for closure, for justice. I had one goal: to expose her deceit in a way she could never deny, and to make her realize exactly what she had destroyed. The first opportunity came faster than I expected. Marcus's company was hosting a corporate gala, a formal event for investors and partners. Natalie mentioned it casually at breakfast. Marcus wants all the senior staff to attend. It's kind of mandatory. I nodded slowly. Sounds important. Should I come? She smiled awkwardly. It's mostly a work thing. I don't think guests are allowed. I just smiled back. Right, of course. But later that day, I contacted a friend, someone who worked for one of Marcus's rival firms. Within an hour, I had an invitation to the gala under a professional pretense. I was going to be there, watching. The night of the event, I dressed sharply, wearing the same confident smile I used to wear when Natalie first fell for me. The ballroom glowed with warm light and laughter. Champagne glasses clinked, music played, and everyone looked their best. Then, I saw her. Natalie walked in wearing a silver dress that shimmered with every step. She looked stunning, but not for me. Her smile was brighter, her eyes searching for someone else. Marcus appeared beside her moments later. He looked just as charming as she had described, confident, elegant, the kind of man who always got what he wanted. He leaned in close, whispering something in his ear that made her laugh. She touched his arm lightly, playfully, the way she used to touch mine. That was it. The image that confirmed everything. They weren't just having an affair. They were comfortable with it. They had crossed every line and didn't even bother to hide it anymore. I stayed back, blending in with the crowd, my heart pounding but my expression calm. I watched as they danced, not formally, not politely, but intimately. His hand rested a little too low on her back. Her head tilted toward his shoulder. It was a dance of two people who knew each other too well. People were watching. Some smiled politely. Others looked uncomfortable. But Marcus didn't care. He was powerful enough to get away with anything. And Natalie, she was willing to risk everything just to be near that power. When the song ended, I quietly stepped away, pulling out my phone. I snapped a few photos, clear, undeniable. Then I left before either of them noticed. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my car outside our house, staring at those pictures. My heart hurt, but my mind was clear. This wasn't about jealousy anymore. It was about betrayal on every level. She had chosen status over loyalty, lies over love. I waited until Sunday morning, the day she liked to sleep in late. When she came downstairs in her robe, I was already at the table with my laptop open. "Morning," I said, calm and casual. She smiled, half awake. "Hey, babe, you're up early." "I wanted to show you something," I said, turning the laptop toward her. Her eyes widened as the images filled the screen, her and Marcus on the dance floor, her laughing up at him, his hand resting where mine used to belong. At first, she didn't say anything. Then she laughed nervously. "Ethan, it's just dancing. You're being dramatic." "Really?" I said quietly. I clicked to the next folder. Photos from her secret hotel visits, time-stamped to match the nights she'd told me she was working late. Her smile vanished. "I know everything, Natalie. The hotel, the messages, the lies. I wanted to believe you, but you made it impossible." She froze, speechless. For the first time in months, I saw fear in her eyes. "Ethan, please. I didn't mean for it to go this far," she said, her voice breaking. "It just happened. I didn't think you'd ever find out." "That's the problem," I said, my tone steady. "You weren't sorry for doing it. You were sorry for being caught." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "I gave you everything, my trust, my time, my support, and you traded it for a man who sees you as just another office fling." Tears welled in her eyes. "It wasn't like that. He cares about me." I couldn't help but laugh, a cold, hollow sound. "You really think a man like Marcus Hale cares? You're just another secret in his long list of women who thought they could handle his world. But don't worry, you'll find out soon enough." She looked confused. "What do you mean?" I stood up, closing the laptop. "Let's just say I sent your little photo collection to the board of directors. Marcus might have to explain why his executive assistant was sharing hotel rooms with him during work hours." Her face went pale. "You didn't." "Oh, I did. And don't worry, I blurred your name in the files. They'll figure it out eventually, but for now, it's just enough to raise questions. Questions that ruin reputations." She began to cry. "Ethan, please. I made a mistake. I love you. I can fix this." I looked at her. the woman I used to love more than life itself, and felt nothing. Just emptiness. "No, Natalie," I said quietly. "You can't fix this. You can't rebuild what you burned down." I left that day, packed a few bags, turned off my phone, and drove out of the city. I didn't look back. Over the next few weeks, I learned through mutual friends that Marcus had been suspended pending an investigation. His marriage, yes, he was married too, collapsed publicly. Natalie, once the rising star of the company, resigned for personal reasons. Karma, it seemed, didn't need my help. Months later, I got an email from her. She said she was sorry, that she missed me, that she wished she could undo it all. I didn't reply. Some chapters are meant to close without an epilogue. Instead, I rebuilt. I found peace in small things: early morning runs, quiet coffee shops, old friends. I even started my own small business, something I'd always dreamed of. Life moved on. Sometimes, late at night, I still think about that moment in the ballroom, watching her laugh with another man as if I never existed. And then I remember how far I've come since then. Betrayal hurts. It breaks something deep inside you, but it also reveals something powerful: your strength, your boundaries, your worth. And in the end, I realized the sweetest revenge isn't humiliation or destruction. It's peace. Because nothing punishes a cheater more than watching you rise, calm, successful, and completely out of reach.